I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Naziah Harris and Keimani Latigue cases connected together. Let me reach out to my folks on Facebook and bring my Facebook family and friends to this demonstration. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all the moderators. Salute to you, him, and her. Let me read my copyright disclaimer. Salute everybody. I see y'all. Salute. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. If I could get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for my moderators, Coffee Girl, 80s Baby, and Nikki Lynn. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for my moderators, Coffee Girl, 80s Baby, and Nikki Lynn? Tomorrow, I'm having an open panel. So if it's any ladies, if it's any females, as well as men, if it's anybody out there that has been sexually assaulted as a child or as an adult and would like to speak about it, make sure you pull up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. I will be having a special guest, someone that I'm sure everyone knows that wants to come before us and speak on their sexual assault encounter. So if it's any of you out there that wants to come up and tell your story, please feel free to pull up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Now, Naziah Harris and Keimani Latigue's case, are they connected? They have a lot of similarities. When you look at both suspects, and we're just going to start with the noticeable things. We're going to start with the small things, and then we're going to make our way up to things that's hidden from us. But let's look at both suspects. Both suspects happen to be light-skinned. Some of y'all might say, Shank, that ain't nothing. They both are light-skinned. Both of them had plaits or cornrows, right? Now, let's look at Naziah and Keimani. Both victims was at the age of 13, right? Let's look at the grandmothers. Both grandmothers are dark-skinned. I know, once again, some of y'all might say, Shank, nobody's worried about that. But when covering any investigation, I have always been taught to always look at everything, because that small piece, the smallest piece that you think, that ain't nothing, that small piece could be the key to cracking the case. Now, I do pay attention to all of my subscribers, and I do pay attention to your comments. Many of you believe that it's a conspiracy going on. right? Many of y'all believe that it's conspiracy, it's some kind of racketeering case. What does Detroit, Michigan have to do with Toledo, Ohio? Now, we know that in 2024, 29,000 children were reported missing. 1 out of 7 was victims of sex trafficking. Where did the 29,000 missing children go to? Right? Even when the day that Keimani's body was discovered, there was reported other bodies that were discovered and found, right? Y'all gotta bear with me because who in their right mind? In the Keimani Latigue's case, what father would do to Keimani what her father Darnell done? It makes you really, really look at the case and say something definitely is not right, because there is also footage of Darnell years ago when he was crying, and he was crying out for help. And even when you come to the Naziah case, what grandmother, what big mama would allow what happened to Naziah happen? And going back and watching Mark D's 40-year CPS, allegedly there was a 40-year-old autistic man that had sexual relations with Naziah that Shannon and the grandmother and them knew about. Right? Let me make this quick announcement. Marty says, we have one place available in the Airbnb for the meet and greet in October. Contact me if you're interested. So there's only one space left for the Airbnb for this year's 3rd annual meet and greet. Charlotte, North Carolina, October the 23rd through October the 27th. If you are interested, please see Marty. So now, are these cases connected? Let's do some research. Salute to the chat. I see everybody in the chat. Are these cases connected?
To the new developments in the homicide of Keimani Latigue. Tonight, the girlfriend of the murder suspect, Darnell Jones, is speaking out. He's accused of killing his 13-year-old daughter, Keimani Latigue. Police found her body in an abandoned home on Monday.
Jones' girlfriend telling 13 Action News she called detectives when she learned he allegedly hid evidence in her home. 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means remaining on this story on your side with new details in this case. Alexis?
Hey, Christian, she told me that Darnell Jones has never been violent toward her, and she told me that she doesn't know why he killed Keimani.
Keimani used to be at my house all the time, and we loved her. And now Now she gonna have to grow up without seeing her sister anymore. I mean, I don't feel bad for anything he going through, but her, she did not deserve none of that she got. Nobody do.
She didn't want us to show her face, but you can hear her voice trembling as Darnell Jones's then girlfriend shares how she helped Toledo police with evidence in the case. Last Friday, police set up a meeting to question Jones.
The weird thing about it is because before they even showed up, he asked me to turn my cameras off. I have cameras in my house, and he asked me to turn them off. And I was like, why would you want me to turn the cameras off? He said, because I didn't come home till 5 o'clock that morning. And he didn't want them to suspect anything because he didn't show up till 5. And I'm like, well, thinking in my head, I'm like, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then why should I turn the cameras off? And I didn't, but he thought I did.
She and Jones have a 2-year-old daughter together. She says she was in the room when Jones tried to hide evidence connected to the case in her house.
After the police took us downtown and questioned us, I came back home before he did, and my family that was here informed me that he hid something under my stairs in my basement. So I called the detectives, and they came and did a search warrant and grabbed it. And once he noticed those were gone, that was the last time I seen him.
Police executed a search warrant. What did he hide under your stairs?
It was like a mat for the back of your truck, not a pickup, but SUV. You know, when you lay your seats down and you put that rubber mat in there to protect the back of your seats in case you're hauling something. That's what he rolled up and put in my basement. And his work boots, which were caked with mud. I never seen him put it under there, but I wasn't about to hold no evidence for him or none of that. He must have thought that.
Jones went on the run to Columbus, where he used to live.
Well, let me let it play. I wanted to.
There's a search warrant, and he disappeared. We left the house because I was scared that he might come back and harm one of us.
Police located him after he called his girlfriend, and she called police.
Shout out to his girlfriend. Shout out to his girlfriend. Now I'm going to jump to the chat, y'all. Shout out to Darnell's girlfriend, because like she said, he must have thought that she was going to lie for him, but she didn't. Appreciate that compliment, Kiki. Appreciate that compliment, Kiki. Now, I'm going to ask you all, the same way that we done with Jarvis Butts. All right, let's chop it up about Darnell. Drop a one if you think that Darnell Jones suffers from mental illness. Is this a mental illness case? Drop a 1. Drop a 2. Drop a 2 if you feel like Darnell Jones was in his right mind. Okay, Zilla. Salute, Zilla. I see you. Okay. Again, I see you. Okay, so we got some ones. Mocha says 1. Okay. So far, okay. Tammy, Grisky, Miss G. Okay. Miss LB, Stanford. Okay, Fox Brown. So right now it's in between. Can't keep using that as an excuse. Shaking my head. Good point. Good point. If you think that it's mental illness, if you can give me an explanation, vice versa, if you think it's not, same way. Grisky says can't keep using that as an excuse. All right. I see you the full light, Mel. I see everybody. Okay, let me. Miss G says can't be mental illness. He planned it. Carla says, I'm glad the girlfriend told. Yes. Yes. Here's my thing. Zilla says facts, but it's real. Because see, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Hey, man, that's what they do. Here's my thing. What would, and I will drop the link later on. Give me a second. What would make a father do the things to his child that Darnell done to Keimani? Mocha says mental is not an excuse, but you got to be mental to take it to this extreme. I agree. I see you, Belinda. Madam says he's using that as an excuse. For Life says, I'm with Grisky. Ms. Parker, I joined the membership and tried sending a super chat. Don't know what happened. Salute, Rosemary. Mocha, absolutely. His Facebook page go back years of his erratic mental behavior. And that's where I'm at, Amma. That's where I'm at, because he has for years now, he has been crying out on his social media for years. He has been crying out how he's sick of this. What was he sick of? What was he sick of? And make sure tomorrow I'm going to have an open panel. If it's anyone, male or female, if it's anyone that has suffered a sexual assault as a child or as an adult, and you would like to speak about it, you would like to tell your story, please feel free to pull up tomorrow. Tomorrow will be an open panel. I will be having a special guest. I will be having a special guest that would like to come before us and tell their story. It's someone that we all know. It's someone that we all know. And this is what I want to say. No matter what a person may have become, and no matter what a person has done, we still have to take in consideration if they were sexually assaulted as a child. In the Jarvis Butts case, and I'm not making no excuses for Jarvis Butts. I'm not making no excuse for Jarvis Butts. But as a society, we have to really look into mental illness. Mental illness is real. It's real. And I do know in the Black community, for years, mental illness has been overlooked. Mental illness for us was some form of taboo. It was like, you crazy, woo. But why is it okay for other nationalities and other races to use that as an excuse, and then they get counseling, they get therapy? Here's the thing. If Jarvis Butts would have gotten the proper help. See, for me, I look at it like this. The system, they looked at it like this when it comes to Jarvis. Who did Jarvis molest, right? What nationality? Jarvis was convicted of the sexual assault of a Black child, right? So the system, okay, we're going to kill not two birds with one stone. We're going to kill many birds with one stone. Jarvis Butts being that stone. The many birds were those Nazaria Harris and the other little Black girls and possible Black boys that he molested. We always got to remember that a system is there. A system is present. Some of us call it Satan. Some of us call it the devil. Some of us call it white supremacists. Regardless of what we call it, a system is present, because what would make, or what would allow them to let Jarvis Butts free after only doing 8 years and 10 months for sexually assaulting a 4-year-old baby? Now, let's fast forward, because that's just the tipping of the iceberg with them releasing him after doing 8 years and 10 months. Now, let's look at everything that he was accused of from the time he was released up until the time he was arrested and charged with Nazaria Harris's unaliving. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. Pensy says the grandmother said she was stealing, her hands missing. So now when it comes to Darnell, you ask yourself, was Darnell in his right frame of mind? Was he in his right frame of mind? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. He wasn't in his right frame of mind. The mere fact that he dismembered his daughter's body, right? Am I making an excuse for him? I'm not making an excuse for him. This is one thing that I do know. We have a big problem. And the problem that we have is that we do not properly medicate, even when it comes to the physical, right? You might be suffering from cancer. You might be suffering from high blood pressure. You might be suffering from some kind of physical illness. What happens when we get treated for these diseases, for these illnesses? 9 out of 10 patients gets treated improper. You end up taking this medication and you end up worse than you was before you started taking the medication. Now let's look at the mental. The mental. They say the mind is a terrible thing to waste. We got to look at the mental. How are these patients that are suffering from mental illness, how are they being medicated? How are they being treated? Right? So if you ask me, both Darnell and Jarvis, they could have been stopped. This could have been prevented. Darnell was crying out, y'all. He was crying out a long time ago. Let me jump to the chat, y'all. Let me jump to the chat. I want to keep the chat involved. Everything in Lola says you can't heal certain people. There is no medicine for some evils. They need confinement. Only God can help those people. Now let's stay right there. Let's stay right there. I would say that's true. However, think of the many pastors. Think of the many men and women of the cloth that has been charged with sexually assaulting children, right? Right. Now, God can help. He can help. But where are the good shepherds? As the scriptures say, where are the good shepherds? See, this is when God's children come into accountability. Where is God's children at in all of this? If we are serving the one true almighty God, where's our power? Where's our power? God, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. God gave the devil, I believe, 1,000 years, right? But along with God giving the devil 1,000 years, and I do believe the 1,000 years are up. Biblical scholars, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the devil's 1,000 years is up. But where is God's servants at? Where is God's children at in all of this confusion and all of this evil? Where's God's people? I'm calling God's people to come on up to the front. I'm calling Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm calling Christians. I'm calling Muslims, Jews, Catholics. I'm calling God's people to come up to the front. Where are you at in all of this? Yeah, y'all gonna pray. Nothing wrong with prayer. Don't get it twisted. Y'all gonna pray. Y'all gonna march. Some of y'all don't even march no more. Some of God's people are a disgrace to humanity. And I can use profanity, but I'm not going to use profanity on this demonstration because I know that there are a lot of holier than thous that are watching this and they're looking for the littlest excuse to turn me off. You know, so I want to make it as clean cut as I can. But God's children, God's servants are a disgrace. Look at society. Look at what's going on in the world. Right?
What's your name? Kill me. Kill me.
And Toledo police say that Jones is still in the hospital. They're not sure when detectives will be able to bring him back to Toledo.
Now, let me say this. Now, let's say this. Okay. And let me plug Toot. So, no, that's not Toot's plug. So, Novi says, I was on Toot's Live this morning. Tomorrow at 8, she is going to have one of Jarvis' victims on her panel speaking. So make sure everybody tune in to Toot's demonstration tomorrow at 8 p.m. She's going to have one of Jarvis's victims speak out. Shout out to Toot. Shout out to all content creators, Mocha Unfiltered, Toot, Miss Parker, Marky D. Shout out to them all. Spiritual Detective. Shout out to all of the content creators. And if I missed your name, no disrespect, I apologize. But shout out to all content creators that is covering this case. Shout out to Roxy. Shout out to Kenya. Shout out to Janelle and Kiwana for putting in the footwork, putting in the work that they put in. All right. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. The Most High gives free will. Now, let's look at Keimani's balloons, and this is the house. This is the house that Keimani's body was found. Now, I have to call out the family of Naziah Harris. And I want the family of Naziah Harris to listen to me, okay? Mainly, I want Kiwana, Janelle, and Roxy and Kenya. I want y'all to listen to me, all right? Naziah needs for y'all to get on the same accord. Things have happened that we cannot go back and change. All right? But Naziah Harris should have a memorial. She should have balloons, flowers. She should have a place set up the way that the family and friends set up for Keimani. I'm saying this to the family. Get y'all ish together. All right? Because the world, as well as Naziah, is dependent on y'all. It's a cat fight. It's a cat fight. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just like I have to call a spade and call it how I see it, I'm only doing it out of good faith, and I'm only doing it out of pure love. We need the family. Make sure y'all throwing up some purple hearts, some pink hearts for Naziah. And make sure y'all hashtagging justice for Naziah Harris. The world, as well as Naziah, need y'all four on the same page. Because remember, Shannon and Miss Annette failed her. We see how they moving. We see how they moving. And I have to call out the men. I have to call out all men of all nationalities, of all religion, age. I have to call us out. We got to get on the front line. We need to put an end. We need to put an end to the disrespect of women, and we need to put an end to the unaliving and the sexual assault of these babies. As men, what are we doing? See? This is why the women are the way they are. This is why the children are the way they are. The men ain't ish. So if the men ain't ish, what you think the women and the children gonna be? I know ladies. I know y'all independent. I know y'all can do without a man. I know the kids. I know, man, F my father. I know. But that's not how God set it up to be. And I say it and I say it again. Our problem is we are so far away from God's word. We all are going to hell. We all are in hell. Appreciate that super sticker, Novi. Appreciate that super sticker, Novi. So I'm challenging all male content creators. Get your ish together. All male content creators, get your ish together. Stay out of these women cat fights. Stay out of these women cat fights. I know I deal with women all the time. Walk away from the women, man. When them women get out of pocket, when them women, and I need to talk to y'all, all right? When them women get to acting like, you know what? You get away from them. But as men content creators, it's our duty to use our platforms to uplift our communities. As men content creators, it's our duty to uplift these women and these children as men content creators. I wouldn't give a damn if they called you corny. I wouldn't give a damn if they called you lame. I get called corny and lame all the time because I bring a positive message. But I'm supposed to get called corny and lame. As a man, you're supposed to get called corny and lame. That's when you know as a man, that's when you know you're doing your job. Let them call you corny and lame. As a man, we should not be glorifying being gangsters. Man, that shit is so dead. That's the real corny and lame men. That's corny and lame. Because I'm going to tell y'all one thing about the ones that consider themselves to be street dudes. They not official street dudes. And I say it all the time. I say it all the time. If you got to roll with a bunch of ninjas, if you got to be in a gang with a bunch of ninjas, what do that say about you? Man, that shit's corny, man. That shit's corny. 60-year-olds, Big U. I got to call Big U out. 60 years old, Big U. Supposed to be gangster now. And if y'all don't know Big U, Google Big U, do your homework on Big U. That shit's corny, man. Somebody got to check in. Somebody got to check in when they go to LA. Appreciate that super sticker, Zilla. Appreciate that super sticker, Zilla. Manifest Reality says Shank Rock real men will speak up. That's what I was always taught. That's what Martin Luther King. That's real. That's a man. Malcolm X. All the men that wasn't gangsters, that paved the way for us. But what are we doing today as men? We ain't doing a damn thing but playing video games. I said it. I said it. 50 and 60-year-old men playing video games. Man, that shit's corny, man. That shit's corny. With so much work in our community that has to be done. 50 and 60-year-old men playing video games. All the dope dealers and all the gangsters from back in the 80s and 90s, where are they at? Where are they platforms? They still talking about ish that they done in the 80s and 90s. They get these interviews and they go on the platforms and they keep asking them the same old questions over and over again. Well, why y'all not going on these platforms as gangsters, as men that live that life? Why aren't y'all going on these platforms and talking about these women and these children? Appreciate the super sticker intentionally for me. Appreciate the super sticker. I'm tired of hearing about the old gangster story. So what? What about these women? What about these babies? What about them? That if you go back, my generation, Generation X, we're the reason why things are the way they are today. We the ones, when we started rapping, we the ones that started calling the women the queens. We the ones that started calling y'all bees and hoes. Don't get it twisted. There are some hoes out here now. Don't get it twisted. But the hoes are hoes, and they know they hoes. But we took it a step further to start calling our mothers, our sisters, the queens. We started calling all women bees and hoes. And then we wonder why 30 years later, we got a bunch of bees and hoes running around here. Because us men created it. Let me get back to these cases, y'all. Let me get back to these cases. But we got to do better. We got to do better as men. If you are a man content creator, use your platform to raise awareness. Appreciate you for pulling up, my Facebook friend. Appreciate you for pulling up. Hey, what's the update on the Naziah Harris case? If you wouldn't mind coming on over to the YouTube, and then that way you could join us with the chat. But let me get back to the actual cases, y'all. But we got to do better. And remember, tomorrow is an open panel. If you have been sexually assaulted, and if you would like to join me on my panel to tell your story, please feel free to pull up tomorrow and hit my panel. I will have a special guest tomorrow, someone that we all know. She would like to tell her story. But let's get back to the cases, y'all. All right, let's see what we're talking about. Disaster for destruction. Salute Kotan. Justice for Naziah. It's a mass amount of them happening around here. Salute Sages. I see you, Sages. Top flight. Novi says, cook, Shank, cook. I want to cook. I really want to cook because, but I want to basically kind of like stay with the cases, and I don't want to go off and really cook, but we got to stop this, and we got the power to stop it. Will it happen overnight? No. But we got to put work in. We got to put work in. I see you, Tyler. Especially in the state of Georgia. I'm grown and my dad still doesn't let men around, as he should. As he should. You know, because we all remember, like I said, when I was young, I can go back to my younger day, man, you really, really had to work. You really had to work to get a woman. It wasn't that easy. But this is what I want to talk to us about, all right? I want to talk to us about family. And I know family likes to say what happens in the family stays in the family. We got to get out of that mind frame. Now, let me address this. Was a body found for baby girl? A body has not been found. Naziah Harris' body has not been found. And I do know a lot of you all believe that Naziah is still alive. I do know that there's a picture going around on Facebook, and nobody can tell whether or not that's a body that's in that picture. Nobody can't tell whether or not that's Naziah in that picture. But I'm going to go with what Roxy's mother, Kenya, said as far as Naziah being deceased. I do stand by Naziah is no longer alive. but no body has been found yet. Can the police go search it? See, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. I'm sure the police can go search it, but the police, and this is when Kenya stated it, we got to go by what is said. Listen. If Naziah was still alive, if Naziah Harris was still alive, and if the state of Michigan knew that she was still alive, if the prosecutors, if the DA, if they knew that Naziah Harris was still alive, and they charged Jarvis with the unaliving of her, Jarvis's Butt's attorney would have got the murder charge dismissed. He would have got that murder charge dismissed at the preliminary for the simple fact, okay, you're stating that she is deceased. However, you know that she's not. You know that she's not. Now, are these cases connected? How many of y'all feel as though these cases are connected? Let's stay right there. How many of y'all feel like these cases are connected? I believe that these cases somehow are connected one way or another. Could the Toledo Police Department be behind it? Can police go check all the landfill? Well, the police, of course, they the police. All they would have to do was to be able to get a warrant. So the police can go check the landfills. And it's a reason why they're not. You know, it's a reason why they're not. Because they have enough evidence to know that she's no longer with us. They found a body in Rogue River in Warren County in Detroit. As they came back and announced whether or not that was the body of Naziah Harris. And see, this is another thing that we got to be careful with. We got to be careful with this. There are a lot of people out here that are going off of he say, she say. And then, you know, we got to keep in mind that there are people that's twisting the narratives on this case. You know, there are some people that don't want justice for Naziah Harris. So we got to be real careful on the information that we take in. We got to be careful. Appreciate the new membership, Novi. Appreciate the new membership, Novi. Appreciate that new membership. Now, unlike the Keimani case, with Keimani, there were no text messages. But in this Naziah Harris case, they do have text messages. Thankful says it's Wayne County. So let's go back to them text messages. Let's go back to them text messages. Maybe it was Shannon behind all of the text messages. Do you think Shannon has something to do with the unaliving of it? I put $1,000 on that. Shannon is the one that unalived her. Shannon was jealous because on a previous demonstration I've done, when we went over the text messages, and even Jarvis was confused at times. But you could tell from a lot of those text messages that wasn't a little girl texting Jarvis. You could tell that them text messages definitely came from somebody other than Naziah Harris. I think that Shannon ran a play. I think Shannon had already had it in her mind that she was going to get rid of Naziah. I watched the news on that. How are you doing today? Sam says, I think a lot of those texts was Shannon. Shannon already had it set up. Shannon was just waiting for the right time. Shannon knew. So Shannon was sending them text messages. How do you like your women? Skinny? That's Shannon. That's Shannon. Jarvis was even like hesitant. Why she's not in jail and why the grandmother locked up as well. Because right now, Jarvis is keeping quiet. Watch Jarvis. And you could tell Jarvis wants to say something so bad. However, when he first got locked up, Shannon still had their kids. So in my opinion, Jarvis was like, if I tell what I know, then me and Shannon both gonna be locked up. Now that them kids has been taken from Shannon, Jarvis is getting ready to spill the beans. Jarvis is getting ready to talk. There was no mention of her. Yes, 100% Shank. I agree, Shank, in my opinion. I'm doing well. How about yourself? Salute, Carl. I see. Yes, that was Shannon. That was Shannon in them text messages. Where is Naziah's phone? Did police find it? Good question. Where's the phone? And because, correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon and Miss Annette, they must have been lying, but didn't Shannon and Miss Annette say Naziah didn't have no phone? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So did she have a phone or did she not have a phone? Which one is it? Who phone was that allegedly Naziah was texting Jarvis from? And all those women in the home knew that team was with child. She even testified that she had Naziah text him sometimes. I couldn't understand why would a grown woman need a 12-year-old texting for her. Shannon is the mastermind. Facts. Jarvis need to tell on her. And I believe he will. Shank Rock and the man was not sure how that woman would react exactly. Salute DJ Blackout. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Salute Short Stack. Where is Lady Naziah's mother? Well, allegedly, and I gotta say allegedly, because it's my channel, allegedly, Lady Naziah's mother was at the hotel. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Allegedly, Naziah's mother, Lady, was at that hotel the night of Naziah's disappearance. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So where is Lady at? Was Lady in on it? Why was Naziah's mother at the hotel? Didn't Naziah and Shannon share a phone? Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. Jarvis Butt's gonna bring them with him all guilty. Thankful says, I shared pictures of the rig with both of them with that same phone. Wow, that's something new. Yes. The mother was there, allegedly. Like I said, allegedly. A burner phone, he got her. These are some real sick people. So that's the whole question. Is all of this one sex trafficking ring? Is Keimani and Naziah cases, are they tied in together? Because who was in Ohio? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Miss Annette? In Ohio? What was, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I shared pictures of the red with both of them. There are some, yeah. Could the police already have the other phone? I saw that red phone with both Shannon and Zaya. I don't feel the mother should be excluded. She has been trying to put on a look of innocence, not buying it at all. Exactly. 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 It's no way in the world. It's no way in the world that they didn't know the position, the predicament that Naziah Harris was in. Same way with Jarvis's sister. It's no way in the world that Jarvis's sister didn't know that that was Naziah in and out of Jarvis's truck. It's no way in the world. Where is her woman's intuition at? No woman is going to ask one question. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. No woman is going to ask one question. I asked Jarvis, who was the little girl in and out of King's truck? Jarvis told me it was King's niece. And that was it. After, correct me if I'm wrong, she was in the store with Naziah. So you mean to tell me Jarvis's sister didn't question Naziah when she was in the store with her about nothing? Not buying it. It's a big ring. And that talking about she called her glamorous. What kind of name is that for a little girl? Exactly, Sam. Naziah's mom brought her a phone also. So drop a 1 if y'all think that it's all connected together. The sister should have asked King. Come on, Coca. Come on, Coca. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong. See, her woman's intuition kicked in. That's what made her ask. Her woman's intuition kicked in. Is when y'all woman's intuition kicks in, is y'all going to stop at that? After, here comes the woman's intuition now. That woman's intuition, I think King knows more. The woman's intuition is going to go just like this. Jarvis, who's that little girl in and out of your truck? Oh, that's just King's niece. Here comes the woman's intuition. Jarvis, well, what is King's niece doing in and out of your truck? If that wasn't the question, the question would have been, hey, King, what is your niece doing in and out of my brother's truck? We talking woman's intuition. Mocha says, lady was supposedly in Ohio when all of this took place. We soon found that to be a lie. Now, in this present moment, Granny Monster is living in Ohio with her brother, Gamble. Bingo. Bingo, Mocha. Bella's mom says, true that. Sam says, nah, I would have been like, let's call somebody to come get you so you could go home and do homework or something. Facts. But either way, Sam, ain't nowhere in the world a woman is going to stop at that one question. And you know your brother is a serial child or ain't happening. It ain't happening. Top Flight says, Mocha, what I knew they was gonna move away. Capricorn Chronicle says also, why is the baby in the truck when it's freezing outside? Why couldn't she come in the shop like she always did? Exactly. Here's another thing. Why was she in and out of that truck? What was she doing in and out of that truck? Was she turning tricks? Let's overturn all of the stones. Let's bring everything on the table. Was Naziah in and out of that truck because she was turning tricks? Drop a 3. Drop a 3. If you think she could have been in and out of that truck turning tricks. Drop a 4 if you think not. I would have went and asked the child. That's why his sister asked, because of her intuition. Facts, Tamala. Fact, that's what she asked. The grandmother mentioned that they would take her phones from her more than once. I agree, knowing what he went to jail for. Salute, Shell. Salute, Shell. Miss G says it's a possibility. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy. Appreciate the super chat. And that has a cop in her family. 333. Because you gotta take all of this in consideration. The police dropped the ball. CPS dropped the ball. All of them dropped the ball. The school dropped the ball. The little poor girl, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the day before her disappearance, I believe Naziah was in the floor crying in pain or screaming, not sure, but I'm sure that that day before her disappearance, she went to the counselor at the school for help. I believe the counselor wasn't there, but I do believe she went for help. I said that's why they didn't call police till the next day. They knew she was working with Jarvis. Something is wrong. Mocha says the very same phone that they claimed Naziah didn't have, it pinged at the motel room that lady was living in. That's what I'm saying now. Now that's the mother, but that phone pinged at that hotel room. Manifest says the school definitely knew what was going on with the team. Yes, Manifest, everybody dropped the ball. Why did these families drop the ball? Why did dumb Dorothy drop the ball? 1 minute, Darnell is not the father, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The next minute, or I believe 1 minute, Darnell is the father. The next minute, Darnell is not the father. Well, if Darnell wasn't the father, dumb Dorothy, then why did you let Keimani go with Darnell? And according to Darnell's girlfriend, Keimani was always at the house. Keimani would spend the night over there. So which one is it, dumb Dorothy? Somebody help me better understand this. Which one is it? Y'all failed these little girls. Dumb Dorothy. Yeah, well, you know, the CPS did come out 2 times. Come to find out, CPS came out more than 2 times. But we'll just go with the 2 times that she spoke about. And then the reporter asked her about, what was the exact words, about the abuse, or y'all help me out in the chat. And then dumb Dorothy said, it depends on what you consider to be abuse. I believe that's what dumb Dorothy says. What type of mind games are you trying to play? These are little girls. These aren't, you supposed to take a female serious, period, but these are little girls. These are 12 and 13-year-old girls. Now, when you look at dumb Dorothy and you look at Miss Annette, I still stick by what I say when it comes to Miss Annette. Miss Annette she felt as though, because allegedly Miss Annette was molested at 11 years old. So in Miss Annette's mind, nobody came to protect me. Nobody protect me from these monsters. When I was a little girl, my innocence got robbed of me when I was a little girl. So what do I look like protecting these girls? These girls can go through the same thing I went through. But when you look at dumb Dorothy, Dumb Dorothy has that aura about her that she's naturally cold. Like Miss Annette, you can say, well, you know what? I understand why Miss Annette may feel the same way she feels. Because at times, and I do think that I do have some pictures, but at times, see, you could look at Miss Annette. Let's look at Miss Annette, right? And you could see that there's a lost soul. You could see the hurt. I see hurt. I see hurt. I do see hurt there in her eyes. Right? But when you look at, and I don't believe that I have a picture of Dumb Dorothy. I might got one of Dumb Dorothy. No, I don't got one up of Dumb Dorothy. But when you look at Dumb Dorothy just looks like she don't give a F. She ain't never gave a F. Dumb Dorothy looked like she was that way since elementary school. I must have been on to something, y'all. I must have hit a nerve. My screen blacked out. My screen blacked out. I must have hit a nerve, y'all. Whenever I hit a nerve, my screen blacks out. But when you look at Dumb Dorothy, you could see that she was a troubled little girl. Dumb Dorothy is Keimani's grandmother. Dumb Dorothy is Keimani's grandmother. But I honestly believe that these cases are connected. Let me drop my link. If anyone want to pull up, feel free to pull up. Do you think that these cases are connected? If anybody want to pull up, feel free to pull up. Are these cases connected? Is it a conspiracy here? Is a racketeering case about to be exposed? Because in the Nazaria Harris case, Jarvis ain't the only one that's going to be charged. Who are these 40 witnesses? The state of Michigan has 40 new witnesses. 40 witnesses, y'all. Who are these 40 witnesses? That's a lot of people now. And what will these 40 witnesses, what will they testify? What will they say? 40? Now, got to remember, the defense team for Jarvis, they got 10 witnesses. They got 10 witnesses. I'm more interested in finding out. I'm more interested in finding out who's Jarvis's witness is. Salute, Pensy.
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yes, talk to me.
Hi. I don't know why my avatar is not showing, but Shank, I don't feel like I feel like the cases are connected, but I don't feel like they are. If I'm too loud, please let me know because like
You
when
sound
I
good.
enter studio, my voice is loud, but your voice is very low on my end. It's not you though that you have to do anything. I just have a very big voice. So to the mods and to the chat, and I can't read the chat when I'm on here. I don't know how to do that. But when I agree with you when I say things are connected, you know, it really like the age groups with all these young, beautiful, brown melanated children missing at these ages. Yes, it is. It is very connected. I don't feel like these people know each other, but then I don't know. So I have to be honest. I don't know. I'm appalled because there's so many hubs, you know, when it comes to child trafficking and all of these kind of things, and we will never understand how big this ring is. You know, I definitely understand one thing. Like I don't follow churches and religion. I follow the word. However, I could get a word from whoever is telling a good word and that's telling the truth. I don't follow people that straddle the fence on things. One thing I love about you and Miss Parker is that so far you all have been like really solid in 100. I'm not a person that just channel serve and I'm a pick me. Let me go over here. Like when I get connected to certain things, especially when it comes to children and and what's going on, especially with ours, that the things that are happening, especially with our young babies, okay, with them kidnapping all our beautiful black girls and then turning all our beautiful black boys into women, all this transgender and all this stuff right here, it has me very upset. I don't like to really get on platforms and talk too much. And I don't like to talk too much in the chat. I just like really try and just pace myself and just say certain things and because I'm a listener and get that and get off because I know what who knows what I'm saying knows what I'm saying because I have to get the discernment. And I know that you definitely do. Let me tell you, I'm so proud that I'm proud that the Most High had you fall into my algorithm, you and Miss Parker, for what is going on because I'm a person that literally I'm always following the cases that never make the news and that nobody is talking about. And when I make a connection to people that really, really care, because we can't just be one person trying to do one thing. I have people that I talk to about these things going on, but do I have people that want to make a movement out of it? No, I don't. Would I love to be a part of a movement of it? Yes, I will. And I'm talking about in person, boots on the ground with it. I just don't have that yet. So I applaud you, King, and I applaud Miss Parker, Queen, and I applaud all the mods and all the chat that knows what we are here and what we feel about what's going on in this wicked, evil world. Um, with that, I'm a yield because like I do get very overwhelmed because I am a mother of 4 children. I have 2 girls, I have 2 boys. My last one is graduating this year in May. And you know, I couldn't imagine even fathom, even in my family, like I've never lost anyone to a situation like this. When I was growing up, my mother was on drugs. My father was on drugs. I was born into my grandparents' home. I couldn't leave my mother. When my father was murdered in Detroit in 1975, my father was brutally murdered. And then I was shipped off, me and my family, to California. And then I was bouncing back and forth, living by coastal. I still ended up being a different type of person for me and my sisters. And I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. However, I could not stop being the Detroit native that I was and that I am. However, I was able to come through all of that. And long story short, in a nutshell, I didn't know how to applaud myself for my children doing what they need to do for this world that they're living in, and that I got them through this. And like I said, I'm on my last seed. My son is graduating from the School of Arts this year in May. Okay, my oldest, military, not only military, but my child went in there for another reason, and a plane can't leave the ground without my oldest daughter saying that plane can't leave that ground. My daughter out cold, and on top of that, a sniper. Please don't play with me. My son, my second daughter, Orchid, she graduated 2 years early from college, arts and letters and law. My son, he's in robotics, and he's also a football player, track, and also he wants to be a therapist. My son now that's graduating is arts, and whatever else he's going to take his situation to, it's going to be okay. So I feel I had to learn how to feel very blessed by the Most High that my children know. First of all, they know God. Second of all, they knew when I said how to be raised from 0 to 5, this is what it is. They were ahead because I read to them, I talked to them. I didn't do that ba goo gaga. I didn't do none of that with them. It's over. I'm not a grandmother yet. On top of that, and don't want to be a grandmother. When the day I'm titled to be a grandmother, if I'm blessed to live on this earth, I cannot wait for that title. To say, this is my grand baby. No, I don't want to be a grandma, a G-ma. No, this is my grand baby. I earned it. I earned it. I can't wait to hone it in. And for people that really don't know how important these things are when it comes to our future. My children is everybody's future, not just mine. My children is everybody's future. And as good as it is for me to be able to say this, it just takes somebody around them that will not like them for who they are, and to take my children away at any minute without being snatched just out of enviness, jealousy, all of that. Our children have been wrapped up in this wicked system and this wicked music that they're allowed to listen to. Look, I'm not getting ready to act like me and my children haven't had disagreements about things during their life, and the things that they want to listen to and things they want to do, and the things that I would not allow in front of me, because they need to know that what goes in your ears goes into your brain, and you will start challenging things that don't need to be challenged. I'm not talking about just me as a mother. I'm talking about entertainment, what enters your body and that you're containing will affect not only you, it's going to affect me and it's going to affect my house. And you will not entertain demons in here, period. I'm not having it. So if I say, I don't want you listening to this, not in here, I don't play that, you're not playing, then that's what it is. I believe me, I have fought for where they are. I fought. I not physically I didn't have to put my hands on my children because the Most High made sure I didn't have to do it. And the Most High made sure that for sure they know not to overstep a certain boundary because I showed them how to be raised. And see, the whole thing is our community now, right now, the worst thing that ever happened is once the internet came to be, it wasn't the internet, it was a lie. Look how much foolishness, for the most part, that people love to entertain and to be the meanest of themselves when it comes to our people is when they go live. It's the most ignorant, diabolical, bona fide crap I have ever seen in my life. I cannot stand it. And it's our people that look like me, and not just like me. But I'm only speaking for my people. I'm not speaking for no other people. Speaking for my people. Why are you all on live telling all your business, acting the most stupid in the world to show that these people, this is what they think about us anyway, worldwide. Every place in the world. Let them go anywhere else, any other country. If we go to any other country, our melanated people, and try this, we ain't coming back. Because first of all, no, you ain't bringing that Western modern, nope, not out here. You better know. See, people don't even understand that, first of all, where you live at, you better know your laws. You better know your laws where you live at. You better know your laws where you live at. Are you allowed to defend yourself? Are you living in a place that literally has diversity, where people can really live amongst each other? Are you living in a place where you can say, hi, neighbor, hi, and keep it moving? Are you not? Are you living in a community that constantly, nobody has nothing, and you're going to kill your brother over nothing, your sister over nothing, you're going to kidnap your kids over nothing, you living in Beirut. Let me tell you why I hate Detroit, and I'm a Detroit native. I'm born and raised on the east side of Detroit. It look like Beirut. It look like Beirut. It look like a bomb been dropped down there. Not one time, 3 times. Putin could blow it up again and it still won't change. And people want to talk, oh, Putin gone. Shut up. It's our people. We have no more community. We don't even trust each other enough to even try and come together. And that's why the Most High said 2/3. 2/3. They're going to keep killing us. Yeah. He turned his face back to us and we don't want to listen. Okay? And about the 1,000-year reign, no, the 1,000-year reign ain't here yet. Satan is still bound The demons that's working for him are here. They're working. When Satan gets released during our peaceful time, when he's get released, he's gonna have the 1,000-year reign. And that's when people are not going to really know who the Most High really is. We living in Revelations. Whoever don't believe it don't have to. I'm not a church person. I'm a biblical person, and I damn sure believe in the Most High and God. And I know God look like me. I know my people look like me, and ain't nothing gonna stop it. And it's going to be still people that don't look like us that do know this truth. See, they get punished because they knew and they didn't tell. They still lived off the back of our people, our ancestors. And they just waiting, thinking, oh, but we're going to still not give up our life and our mansions because, you know, when they all hit the fan, we'll be able to, we willing to serve you now. No, ain't none of that. If you didn't tell now, you ain't going to be here later.
Pensy, let me slide in for.
And with that being said,
let me slide in for a minute. Appreciate that cash donation, Mel. Appreciate that cash donation, Mel. If you would like to support the channel, by sending a cash donation, my cash app is $ERICMCINT. Appreciate that cash donation. Any last words, Pensy, before we get out of here?
Yeah, my last words is thank you, Shane, for the Most High bringing you and Miss Parker into the algorithm for me to be a part of what you all are doing, because I'm still part of this movement. And and with that, I really am going to yield because I am very emotional because I know I'm an empath. And see, people think that, oh my God, what does she mean? But no, an empath means I'm a very, very intuitive person, and I get very sensitive when my people are hurting. And I love you. Keep it up. And I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be here for you and her, period. And the mods in the chat that's here, that's true and standing on what is going on. One thing for sure and one thing for certain, we have to protect our children. And everybody, please make sure, do not put that you're an organ donor. Because don't forget, they need us. They need our melanin. They need to bleed our blood in order for them to keep trying to survive. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We are not the minority. We the majority. And we're going to always be the majority. It's written. I'm done.
Appreciate you, Pensy.
I'm done.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Wow. A powerful testimony that she gave. Very powerful testimony that she gave. Remember, everybody, tomorrow's demonstration at 12:30 p.m. If you have been sexually assaulted as a child or an adult, female or male, and you would like to tell your story, feel free to pull up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. We will have a special guest, someone that we all know. Appreciate you for the super chat, Tanya. I have been driving and listening. Thank you, Shank Rock, for your time and true facts. Thank you, Tanya. I open my platform up so we all can have a voice. I believe that we all have something to teach, and I do believe that we all have a testimony. You never know. Your testimony just might be the testimony that may save someone's life. You never know. Never feel ashamed of who you are. Never feel ashamed of who you once were. Never think that nobody's going to listen to you. That's not how this thing works. I grew up in a time where it was each one teach one, or either each one reach one. So that's all it takes is for you to teach one person. All it takes is for you to reach one person, and you've done your job. But if you never voice your opinion, if you never tell what you know, if you never speak on your experience, then how do you know whether or not what you have to bring to the table can help someone else? There are a lot of haters out here. There are a lot of haters out here. Misery loves company. And a hater will do everything in his or her power to hold you back, because a hater is misery. All haters are nothing but miserable souls. That's it. And we know that misery loves company. So never let nobody discourage you from living out your full potential. We need men and women to stand up. We need men and women to stand up and do what's right. Men and women stood up for us. See, I'm only giving back what was given to me. Growing up, all I had was men and women around me. Shank Rock, don't do that. Shank Rock, I'm going to go and tell your mother. No, Shank Rock, you know you shouldn't have done that. That's all I had around me. So when I did go to the left, there was always somebody there to check me. There were always older people giving me the word. And like Pensy said, you don't got to go to church to know the word. You don't got to go to church to deliver the word. You don't got to go to the mosque. You don't got to pray 5 times and 7 times a day to be close to God, to do the will of God. That's how we get it twisted. And that's why the biggest devils are sitting in church. That's why the biggest devils are sitting in church. I'm going to leave y'all with that. You do not have to go to church to preach, to teach, to speak the word of God. God is universal. Don't never let nobody tell you that you have to be a certain way. That's what's wrong with us. That's what's wrong with us. Somebody that's miserable is telling God's people, somebody that's miserable is telling you and I with good hearts and peaceful minds, somebody that's miserable is in our ear. Remember, the devil was in Adam and Eve's ear. The devil was a big ass hater. The devil wanted to know why God gave man. For my Muslims, it's in the Quran. If you haven't read the Quran, go to the Quran. See, in Christianity, it teaches us that the devil rebelled against God, but it never told us why. It never got specific with it. But now when you go to the Quran, which the Muslims read, go to the Quran, and the Quran tells you why the devil bucked on God, why the devil had a beef with God. Because God created man, and God told all the angels, even the devil, to bow down to man. The devil got upset. The devil got jealous. And the devil said, how dare I bow down to a man that is made of mud and clay that's going to cause mischief in the earth, amongst the earth. The devil already knew. So you gotta watch the devil. We learned that in Christianity, the devil was God's right-hand man. So you got a lot of devils that's in your ear, because like Cain got mad at Abel because Abel's offering was accepted, but Cain's wasn't. So Cain couldn't accept that. There are a lot of devils. There are a lot of people that are in our lives that aren't happy for you and I. I'm going to leave y'all on that note. I will leave the chat running and y'all can hang around and congregate. Appreciate the super chat, Pensy, and thank you. Once again, this is an open platform. Anybody that want to hit the panel, feel free to hit the panel. Remember, tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., if you've been molested before, and if you want to just tell your story, feel free to pull up. Salute everybody, and I'll see everybody back later on. I'll leave the chat running. Salute everybody. I'm just seeing your comment, Coca. So if you would like to pull up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., if you would like to pull up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. and tell us your story. Coca says, I have a story to tell about me being SA as a child and how this man tried to groom my granddaughter 2 weeks ago. See, this is what we fighting for. Fellas, I need y'all. Fellas, the ladies need y'all. Fellas, the babies need y'all. We got to stop this, man. We got to put an end to these cowards. We got to put an end to these suckers, man. This right here shouldn't be tolerated nowhere. So I need all men. I need all men of all races, all nationality, all religion. I need y'all. Our family, the world needs y'all to stop this, man. Seriously. That's the new gangster. That's the new whatever you want to call what's in. Stopping the sexual assault on these women and children as well as men. This is what we got to stop. So I challenge all men. Come on, man. Pull up. Pull up. Hope to see you tomorrow, Coco. Okay, that's okay.